Rainbow Dash yelled as she presented Applejack with her gift, a massive bonfire in the middle of her yard. Applejack stared, slack-jawed, at the enormous fire, which, of course, could only be a good thing.
I know. When you asked, you didn't expect such a glorious fire. But everything I do is awesome.
Applejack's gaping wasn't from being impressed, as anyone besides Rainbow Dash could have guessed.
I know I didn't wrap it, but do you have any idea how expensive fireproof wrapping paper is? It has to breathe to let the fire live and be fireproof.
She shook her head, crossing her forelegs.
That's just unreasonable, Applejack.
Applejack shook her head and managed to find her voice.
Rainbow Dash?
She looked around and nodded to herself. No need to actually be mad. It was inconvenient and weird, but she had not put it anywhere dangerous, so it was merely an annoyance.
Rainbow Dash, I didn't say I wanted a fire.
Rainbow Dash's eyes widened.
What? You didn't want a fire? But I thought you said you wanted a fire!
Applejack shook her head and face-hoofed.
Cover, Rainbow Dash. A fire...
A cover! Got it!
Rainbow Dash nodded, determined to right the wrong she had enacted. And she sped off, leaving a rainbow-colored stream behind her as Applejack finished her sentence.
Fireplace cover. Oh, this ain't gonna end well. There!
Applejack looked up in confusion as she heard a distant boom. Wondering who could be setting off fireworks on Hearthwarming Eve, she shrugged. Apparently, someone had a new, admittedly odd, holiday celebration. She shook her head with a small smirk. She did not want to say that her traditions were better, but... She blinked as a pile of metal tubes were deposited in front of her, followed by the loud bang of a crate behind them.
There you go!
Rainbow Dash beamed at her, quite self-satisfied.
Fire cover!
Applejack frowned. She looked at the items. Her eyes widened. It took her a little time to recognize the items that had been deposited on the ground, but she got there.
Mortars?
Rainbow Dash nodded proudly.
Oh yeah! I just had to get them from the Wonderbolt's armory. What do you need them for anyway? Someone trying to move in on your apple goods?
Applejack shook her head in utter bafflement. Again, Rainbow Dash could only take it as wonderment.
I know! These are the highest quality. They have their own rangefinders and everything. You can even time them to fire after a delay. They're amazing. We'll bring down anything you need them to.
Applejack opened and closed her mouth a few times before she looked back at Rainbow Dash, shuddering.
Rainbow Dash, take these dangerous weapons back.
Rainbow Dash blinked in surprise.
And listen to me carefully.
Applejack made long, meaningful eye contact with Rainbow Dash, even to the point where it became uncomfortable, the seriousness of which Rainbow Dash then ruined.
Are we going to kiss?
Applejack reared back.
What?
Because I think a gift of this caliber deserves a kiss.
No, I ain't gonna kiss ya. I was just trying to tell you how serious I was.
Rainbow Dash smirked.
Too bad. Guess I still gotta earn that kiss. But I'll get there. You just watch me. Now tell me what you want for Hearthwarming. I mean, you've said fire, then fire cover. What next?
Applejack sighed, shaking her head.
Okay, listen to me, Rainbow Dash. I would like, for Hearthwarming, a fireplace...
Got it!
And with that, Rainbow Dash was gone.
Cover. Oh, come on!
Applejack could only groan as she heard yet another loud crash outside. Looking out her door, she wasn't surprised to see Rainbow Dash with, somehow, an entire brick fireplace in her front yard. At least its weight had smothered the remains of the earlier bonfire. though that was somewhat rendered meaningless as Rainbow Dash had restarted a fire in the fireplace that was now in the front yard.
There you go.
Rainbow Dash patted the top of the fireplace, which, actually, was kind of just a standing brick box with an open top and front, since it wasn't attached to a building.
A new fireplace. Wasn't the easiest thing to find, and had to call in a favor from Bulk.
She motioned over her shoulder, showing that, indeed, Bulk Biceps was flying away.
But I got it here.
Applejack sighed and accepted her fate.
Thanks, Rainbow Dash. That's real nice of you.
Rainbow Dash nodded, preening slightly as she was praised.
I know. I'm best girlfriend. I give you not 1, but 3.
She paused.
Well, I guess 2, since you made me take the mortars back.
Applejack blew out a long breath and nodded, smiling. At least Rainbow Dash had tried. Effort counted. She gave the best smile she could manage, which was not a great one, but maybe it would pass. Dash seemed especially good at missing the obvious recently.
Well, thank you again, Rainbow Dash. Now, if you'll excuse me,
She motioned back to the farmhouse with her head.
we were gonna open family presents.
Rainbow Dash nodded, beaming.
You're welcome. I hope you like your present.
She darted forward, pressing a quick peck on Applejack's lips.
Best girlfriend.
She hissed in a low whisper. Applejack was reasonably sure was supposed to be sultry. And with that, she flew off. Applejack shook her head as she walked back into the house. Well, at least nothing truly, irreversibly bad had happened, especially since Rainbow Dash had brought explosives of all things. Tomorrow was date night. She would give Dash her own gift then. She froze on her way through the family room. She stared, and then stared some more.
Big Mac?
Big Mac poked his head out of the kitchen.
Yeah?
Applejack pointed at the new cover on the fireplace.
Where did that come from?
Big Mac smiled.
Rainbow Dash said it was your present. She distracted you so I could put it in.
He pulled his head back into the kitchen to continue his work elsewhere. Applejack gaped at her proper present, then turned around and glared at the front door. She could hear distant snickering that sounded an awful lot like her trickster of a girlfriend. Though, Applejack had to admit, privately at least, it was a bit funny.
You just wait, Dash.
She muttered with a fierce little smile.
Mama get you tomorrow. You just watch me.